everyone. Welcome back. Andrea, I haven't seen you in a little bit. You've been working a lot lately.
I've been really busy. I've been helping Seth Keschel with his new book. Everyone needs to go check out his new book.
I'm so excited about this. You guys go to Amazon and get Seth Keschel's new book. I got to look at what. So, you guys, Seth Keschel is the guy that is the election guru, right?
Yes.
He is amazing.
It's the American War on Election Corruption is the name of the book.
Guys, Seth Keschel, please check that out. Everyone needs to go get that book. I make nothing if you go to Amazon and get it, and I'm great with that. Go get the book because we need to save America. And if we don't fix our elections, we aren't going to fix the rest of it.
Amen.
And so we've got to do it for America. And Seth is the one that understands how to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm so excited that he finally put that in the book.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that has been really bothering me, Andrea, for the last, I don't know, 20 years maybe, where the insurance companies think they're the doctor, right? But just this week, so I don't have a thyroid, okay? They took my thyroid out on January 3rd, 2008. And so not having a thyroid has a whole array of issues, right? Because I didn't even know what the thyroid was until it said thyroid cancer. And then I find out, the thyroid turns out regulates everything, everything. And so learned quite a bit about that over the last almost 20 years. And there's different medications that I take to replace the thyroid. And there's Synthroid, there's levothyroxine. I personally do better with the NP Armour Thyroid. And levothyroxine simply does not work for me. I've tried it. I was on it for years. Well, I got a letter from my insurance company who has never talked to me about my medical care, has never talked to my doctor about my medical care, and said, by the way, we are not going to cover the NP thyroid anymore, and you have to use levothyroxine. Don't worry about this change. We've already contacted your doctor and told them to change your medicine. Or the audacity. So first of all, my husband and I don't use the insurance a whole lot. He has a great job with state benefits. And so we do use some of the benefits, but the insurance is something I use most of the telemed services because I don't trust doctors. At least the pharmacia doctors, right? I go see naturopaths. But so I called the doctor that prescribes it. I actually emailed her and I said, hey, the pharmacy, the insurance company is not the doctor. These people are jerks. I will just pay cash. Do not change my medicine.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, great. I got you covered. Don't worry about it. And actually I started buying through a different pharmacy that gives more common sense prices for cash people buying it with cash instead of having to go through insurance companies. But the audacity of the insurance companies, and this really started with Obamacare, that felt like the government said it started with the Medicaid recipients. And when I was putting myself through college and making that adjustment with small kids, there were years that we were on Medicaid. And so I watched Medicaid. The doctor would prescribe something for my child with asthma, and they would need a pre-authorization. Like the insurance company knows more than the doctor. But now this has rolled over into private insurance companies are now playing God with our people. And this is why we don't do socialized medicine. The government gives zero craps about you. Okay, the fact that we have the internet that can't be wiped of child porn, but can be wiped of any truth that they call conspiracy theories, tells you everything you need to know. And them taking over our healthcare is disgusting. And I had to go on my rant because I couldn't believe the thyroid affects everything. If I were to go with what the insurance company said and go on levothyroxine, I wouldn't be able to think straight. I'd be tired all the time. I'd be gaining weight, not be able to do anything about it. Like makes your hair like real thin. There are so many different aspects of how it affects your life, all because they probably made a deal with people that make levothyroxine and all they care about is that dollar. And it's not about you getting well in this pharmacia system with insurance. It's about them making money. And so people remember that and quit letting the insurance to decide. We've got to take it back. We've got to be more proactive with our health. And I know we're going to have some of our friends on today that are going to help us with some of that. That's why we've had Dr. Stella Emanuel on.
Yeah.
But Andrea, you and I have talked a lot about this, and this is actually how we met.
Mm-hmm.
Was working with the company that said, hey, you guys take control of your health care and quit blindly following what somebody that is not in your body tells you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, they don't care about your health, obviously. But I mean, like in your situation, a lot of treatments, they just want to give you like a pill or something to replace, to fix things. Like, oh, well, you know, we'll take this out and we'll do this. And don't worry, there's a pill for it. There's not always just a pill for it. And then they want you dependent on it the rest of your life. And I've gotten so far to the point where I'll do everything to not go to a normal, you know, hospital and doctor. Like you said, we have friends, thank God, that, you know, I love Dr. Henry Ely. I love Dr. Group. I have friends that I can call up and I trust them more than I always say, I will never go to a hospital unless my kids have a broken bone. I'm not going to a regular big hospital, right?
That's right.
Like for emergency care only. But like what you're saying, it's, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, thank goodness that Trump is doing what he's doing with, you know, what's he calling it? Like Trump care or something?
Trump RX. No, I'm excited.
Trump RX.
I really am. Yes.
It's fun, but I still don't like that we're pushing the big pharma stuff. But right? I just don't like that.
We have to have it. For instance, I'm always going to need that prescription for my thyroid because I don't have one. I'm always going to have to take that. It doesn't matter what else we do. There's unless God decides to grow me a new thyroid, I'm always going to have to take it. And so there are those cases where it's necessary, right? And so anyway, that's my tangent. I couldn't wait to go off on it when I got that letter. I almost got on and made a live video right then. I was really angry about it. And so, I mean, that's frustrating. Who do they think they are?
Well, a lot of people don't have options, and a lot of people will do whatever they say, and that's why we are the sickest nation in the world. Because,
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to bring on Narcisa Crafts, who does our Oklahoma. She has overseen the Oklahoma brigades for several years now. Narcisa, we've had her on the show before, Andrea. You've met her. Hey, Narcisa, how are you?
She's amazing.
Hi there.
You know, the first time I met Narcisa, we were introducing brigades. It was the second people to have brigades. And I met her and I just knew. I said, hey, you and I are going to know each other for a long time. Let's take a picture of the first time that we've met so we can remember it. Remember that? And we did. We took that picture and we sure have, man. She has been an amazing ally and fighter of freedom from the get-go. So welcome, Narcisa. Tell us what is going on in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma has been very busy. We have brigades almost in 21 counties now. And some of the people are doing the brigades at the GOP meetings because, as you know, it's 20% of the people that really work everything. So
That's a pretty generous figure, 20%.
Right?
I think it's less.
Probably so. So we have been working on the green energy over the last year, the human manure, of course, the China and hostile foreign entities owning property in Oklahoma. We have worked on preventing vaccine status discrimination, the medical freedom. And more recently, we have started to do a lot of, data centers that are growing like mushrooms everywhere right now. And the surveillance cameras that are tied into that. And here in Rogers County, where I am, we're having an aluminum smelting plant that is going to affect the health of the people around it. So it's a big project and a lot of money, dark money behind it.
So, it's interesting. A lot of what we're dealing with goes into what the 2030 agenda is. I want to share my screen. I want to show you guys where to find this because a lot of people say, well, that's conspiracy, 2030 agenda. So can you guys see my screen right now?
Let me pull it up for you, Charity. Let's see here.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, there we go.
So this is weird. This is the freedombrigades.com. And if you go and you scroll down to right here, it says you must know this agenda. If you will just click on this picture, it takes you directly to the UN website, un.org. I am in no way pulling something out from a third-party source. This is going directly to the source and exactly what they are saying about what the 2030 agenda is. It's all here. You need to read it for yourself. A lot of it is taking away our farmland, and they're attacking the food supply for many different reasons, but they don't want us to be self-sustainable. And so if they can control the food supply, right, you can control the people. And so you really need to check this out. That's how you can find it. Because that's the big deal. So I personally love the idea of solar energy. If I wasn't called to help jump into politics, it sounds really appealing to me to go off to an island, not a disgusting island, but an island. As maybe just use some solar energy and just live off the land and be free from the rest of the insaneness of the world. That's something that's not going to happen. But I'm not against even like the solar energy, but these industrial solar farms are really dangerous. They're causing they cause fires, they cause a lot of health issues, but they also insist on putting them on farmland. Now, why don't they put them over parking lots? Well, there's a twofold answer to that. They don't want to do it over parking lots because, number one, they know there's the fire hazard and they don't want the insurance costs associated with all the cars that would be and the possible close to buildings. But second, it is an attack on the farmland. And much of what we're dealing with here attacks the farmland. The data centers, people are most frustrated with the data centers because the data centers don't come in and say, we are going to sustain ourselves. What they say is, we are going to tax you. We're going to take your water supply. We are going to tax you more and make you pay for our utilities, which are astronomical. And then we want you to come in and by the way, some of the frequencies we put out are going to be harmful to your health as well, and frequency to the farmland next to you. Because it's going to affect the cattle and stuff. And you guys, these are things that we really need to be concerned with. It is very purposeful. And the whole purpose is so that they can continue with the AI and continue with the surveillance. The surveillance should be terrifying to everyone. I can't believe that this is something that we aren't talking about more than anything. The cops do not need access to your Ring cameras. If there is an issue that there was a crime and they want to see your personal Ring camera because something happened in front of your house or within view of your camera, I can see allowing that as a case-by-case basis. But just for overall surveillance, so they can keep tabs on where we're at, why we're there, and who we're with, is awful. When 1984 came out by George Orwell, nobody ever dreamed that would actually be possible. And what we have now makes 1984 seem more than realistic. You remember in 1984 they said the hate, and it was people that would watch the news and they just get enraged, and they were actually required to do it, I think, twice a day in 1984. But how many of you watch the news and you get enraged? It's because they are focusing us. They're taking away our ability to provide for ourselves, to feed ourselves. And then at the same time, they want us to just to be angry all the time and to turn on each other. They don't care why. They'll divide you by race. They'll divide you by class. There are two political people in Oklahoma that I've called out for being racist, because we've got to quit using the race card regardless of the color you are. And we have got to not let them divide us. We are the human race, and it really is important how you spend your time and what you're thinking on. The Bible talks about that, and it's been scientifically proven that your body reacts to your thought process. So I am going off into a tangent again. But I'm on fire today, Andrea. We should not do these on Friday.
Well, I'm trying to think if it was the health ranger that we were talking to about it, but I think it was like a year ago we were talking about AI, and I think it was the Los Angeles area. They've been using AI systems with the police, and so you've got like 9,000 police officers that enter information every day because they're putting everything into it, because everything you feed it is how it grows, right? So they're entering all this data, and it's getting to the point where they can literally type in like the description of a tattoo and find the person, right, instantly who that is. And then you have the AI glasses that people wear where it's identifying facial recognition and in real time showing the person's social media, and any presence online and things like that. And there's, the digital ID is being reined in, like when we talk about the SAVE Act and we talk about voter integrity issues too, like with Seth Keshel in his book. A lot of GOP members are like, oh, we need, they're not realizing that the digital ID that's being reined in is CBDC, track and trace, and it's going to be the enemy. They're thinking, oh, well, that's no big deal. We want that for voting, right? No, you have to be very careful and watch the legislation in your state and see how far it goes, and get attorneys like Tom Renz involved. Check it. And honestly, you can use AI good for good too. Like you have your great guy out there in Oklahoma that is teaching people. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, teaching people how to track, not Cole, but the man who has the Oklahoma Substack, who was he was in Congress before that you had on, and he's doing.
Bully? No. What? Jason Murphy.
Yeah, was it Jason
Yes.
Murphy? Yeah, he was in
Yes,
Congress before, but he's showing how you can take the bills in your state, and him and his friends have built AI to where you can basically flag the bad things, because they'll put bad things underneath what looks good, right? And so everyone needs to be very terrified, like what you're talking about, of the track and trace and the CBDCs and some of the digital ID stuff that they're going to show, like, oh, it's going to make your life easier, it's better. It's, one of the bills, and I think Texas was doing it, Tom was bringing it up, that, everyone thought it was for fighting child exploitation and child trafficking, but it was actually bringing in, again, this digital surveillance system that there's no taking that back. Once we give them the right to our privacy that way, we'll never get it back, and they'll be able to do anything with it.
And they won't stop.
Something we found out last night was that there's a tracker now in your tires that will tell them wherever you've been, whatever you've done, related to your transportation. So
how does someone find that, Narcisa? Where can people back that up?
Well, it was John Bennett that shared with us last night at our meeting, and it said that in our vehicles, the new vehicles, everything is trackable. So it's all the electronics they put in the car right now will tell all kind of things about you.
And I've been screaming about that for a long time. I keep teasing my kids because I drive an older Jeep that has a little bit of tech in it, but it doesn't have that kind of tech in it. And a lot of people have said, you need to get a new car, because of course it's older, and I'm always having to go fix things that are breaking. But I told my kids I'm about to get a classic old pickup truck.
Yes.
That's all metal, has nothing smart in it at all, because this stuff terrifies me. Every time I get into a friend's new car that has like the radar and all this stuff, I'm freaked out. I don't want the car to talk to me. I don't like the cars that everyone like, it's so great. I get in and it remembers me, puts me in my position, then puts my husband in his position, and it talks to you and it does all this stuff. I mean, and we see with, what was the crazy story with, what senator had the sister-in-law that like drowned in the pond because her smart car just drove right into it? Was it Mitch? Was it Mitch McConnell?
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
And I missed a good story there.
Chinese sister-in-law. She drowns in basically a pond. I think it was in Texas. She was in a smart car, and she had got whistleblowing on something with the CCP, and then all of a sudden. Wow. So I mean, everyone, and then you see the cars that drive themselves that are like the Ubers, and everyone's freaked out because I'm like, I would never get in one of those things. It scares the crap out of me.
No, I'm with you on the self-driving cars scare me, but I am one of them. I do got the memory seats and stuff, and I'm like, I like this. But no, we do have an older car for that reason. Like, because if we don't
the new
always
cars.
want to pack, I know. No, that's true.
And then your phone, and that's something that Dr. Henry Ely, every time I see Dr. Henry Ely, and he's great, you guys got to look him up. He will grab my phone and he'll yell at me because he's like, why do you have all these things turned on? He shows me what to turn off on your phone because you don't want it constantly doing the track and trace and tracking everywhere you go. Right. Partly because these are so toxic for you. You don't want them touching your skin. When at night, you should be turning off your Wi-Fi, your whole house, and all your devices should be far away from where you sleep. And it's hard because some people who live in apartment buildings or close to other people, you're getting it coming up from the floors and the ceiling. And, if you live in an apartment building, you're getting it everywhere. So it's important to protect yourself from this stuff. But he gets mad if he sees this touch my skin, if it's in my pocket, and he turns his off all the time. He goes, do you need it on right now? Turn it off. Keep it in your car. But the stuff you put on it that tracks you, the memory stuff, it makes this more toxic to you too. You right. don't want it connect to everything. But it also, again, like what you're saying, the surveillance state can look at everything you've done, everywhere you've been, just because this is keeping track of everything.
It's terrifying. It really is. So what you can do about it is what Narcisa's done, what we do in Oklahoma, what brigades are doing across the country is, first of all, you have to be smart, right? There's not a whole lot we can do about this thing.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Except you turn it off. You can't live without it. Andrea, we don't like it when you turn your phone off. Some of us need you.
I've been saying from the beginning of the fight, I've said everyone talks about the 10 days of darkness, the 2 week side, everything's going to turn off. And I'm like, when's that going to happen? Because I'm ready. Turn it off.
I'm with you. I've always been like, well, that probably wouldn't be too bad, actually.
I'll go camping. I'll grab my tent. I'll drive to the mountains and I'll go fishing for a week,
as long as, can I just make sure I'm not traveling and we're good.
I'm on the farm and I'm pretty much off grid here. So
good.
Yes,
that's awesome.
I can enjoy that. But I do have some good news about the data centers.
Okay.
I wanted to share because there's been a lot of pushback from different communities related to power shortages and water usage consumption and then the health issues. So we have several states now that have canceled some of the data centers projects or put them on hold. And I can just tell you a few of them. There's cancellation for with proposed moratoriums coming up this year in Georgia and Vermont, New York, Virginia, and of course, Oklahoma. And some of them have, some other projects have actually stopped. For example, in Missouri, 1.5 billion project in Peculiar was blocked after local authorities changed zoning rules. So there's different ways that to go around it and kind of slow this down. The last one was in South Carolina, where a big company, Tiger DC, announced it is formally withdrawing Project Spiro, which would have created a 3 billion data center in Spartanburg County. So here in Oklahoma and Rogers County, we're dealing with Project Mustang. And we found out that Qatar Investment Authorities, I think it's the company that is pushing, bringing the finances behind it. So we had, I think you might have heard about that meeting in Claremore, where one person was, an activist was arrested actually for trespassing at an open public meeting. That happened on February 17.
Yes, as soon as he's allowed to talk about it, he'll be coming on the show and talking about it. He can't do a whole lot right now while the charges are and the court is not over. But he will. I mean, just for you guys, they removed him, but they didn't remove anyone else because they said he went over his time. Other people went over their time and they weren't removed, but they weren't speaking against the data center coming in, or this. It was the smoldering plant, wasn't it?
No, this was the
No.
data.
Okay, that was the data center.
That was the data center.
So,
yes, and actually they said that the police arrested him because he refused. He was warned and refused to leave, which the video shows otherwise. So they're incriminating themselves more and more, and they thought they're going to stop him. Actually, it's giving him a bigger platform now.
they really are, and he's excited to talk to us about that. But it is disgusting what's happening. But that was at, you guys, that was that a city planning meeting or was that a commissioner meeting, Narcisa?
It was a city council. Yes.
So you guys, this is why it is important to be at these meetings. How do you stop these things from coming in? How do you even know what's going on? Your county commissioner meetings are where that often starts. Your county commissioner is your operations manager for your county. It matters who you've got in that role. It is not just about building roles, building roads, I'm sorry. And then you go to the city councils, then the city planning. That is why the brigades have a man at every post and they call for reinforcements when needed. It is so important that we, the people, are organized and that we're communicating with each other, because it is the only way we're going to win. We cannot just sit at home and watch TV anymore. Everybody's time is under attack. You can do this with 4 hours a month of your time, 2 hours to go to the meeting, whether it's city council, county commissioner, and then 2 hours to go to your brigade meeting to fight back and to tell them what's going on and report what's happening. We can do this if we, the people, will mobilize and come together. And this starts with you. If you do it through the brigades, we'll be glad to help you, and it's free to join. We will show you and connect you with other patriots across your state and across the country that will help you. But it is imperative that we fight back and that more of us are involved. Narcisa, you started this by saying we need more soldiers. You guys,
yes. So at this particular meeting, actually,
yes,
over 100 people showed up. So
right.
That was amazing. And now the momentum is growing, even with the aluminum smelting plant. That
Yes.
is going to be a bigger project here. And we actually had a meeting last night, and more people are coming out with information, and we're building a strategy and working on how we can defeat, because they are feeding us lies. They're telling us that they're giving us the best technology, which actually they're not even using in their own country, in the Arab Emirates, and also in Europe, where they have some of these plants. So we're wondering, why are they doing this to us here? And what we found out is because they're picking up smaller communities where people don't know what's going on, and there's not enough numbers to fight it. So this is why it's so important that we unite, and we talk to each other and strategize and work together as a unified body.
That's right. You know, I want to bring on, we've got a couple of friends that are also fighting this. Narcisa, in Oklahoma, we've been fighting several of the medical industrial complex and several aspects of that. And we have Kim and Dyanah with Pet Club 24/7 that have also really been fighting this. Kim, you guys were talking about a bill right before we started that's being passed. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I don't know about a bill, but what I know is happening. What I do know is happening is that the veterinarian world is being scarfed up just like the medical world. We're losing all of our private practices. Our private practices are being sold to Mars. What does Mars make? Candy, right? Mars is scooping up all of these private veterinarian offices, and another company called Jab Holding is also scooping them up. It's kind of scary, but it also goes hand in hand with what we're seeing in the medical world. You know, you were bringing up about how, you know, your insurance company is being overshadowed overshadowed by the person that needs to make the decision in the government. The same thing is happening with our animals. We're a pet health company. We also work with people, and we're seeing things that is terrifying. When you have the American Medical Association saying that they will no longer, the American Heart Association saying they will no longer recommend diet and exercise as the first defense against obesity, that now their first recommendation will be one of those crazy shots that everybody's taking. And the reason they're going to put that as the primary recommendation is because people will do it over diet and exercise.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. When did they say this?
In writing. They have put it in writing. Can you believe that?
Wow. The American Heart Association is no longer saying diet and exercise, which is natural.
It's not the number one recommendation. It's the number two recommendation. The number one recommendation is one of those crazy shots.
Ozempic or something.
Yeah. Well, and when the Super Bowl was on, and not that I watched it, but at the end, there was a commercial about this new, here, take this shot and you'll lose weight. And so I jumped on social media, which I very rarely do things like this, but I was so angry and said, oh my God, you're kidding. Another weight loss shot. Well, I got all these wonderful comments. You're right. And then a good friend of mine who is a pharmacist comes on and said, Dyanah, you're wrong. You're really being insensitive to those who need it for diabetes, to those who need it for A1C levels. She really kind of nailed me. Well, then I saw the commercial again. And in the disclaimer, it flat out said, not recommended for diabetes, not recommended. I jumped back on social media and said, go watch the commercial. She goes, oh, Dyanah, you don't understand how this works. So she's a pharmacist for 40 years. She said, it's the same exact thing as Ozempic, as the other one. They're the exact same thing, but they have different commercials to target different audiences. I said, so basically, you're telling me that they're duping the public. She said, well, a lot of medications are like that. And she was just okay with it.
Well, they've been duping us forever. Like, it reminds me of the glyphosate thing. We were just interviewing a glyphosate expert. He's like the expert on glyphosate.
Yeah.
And he was saying, because he's basically been like an expert expert witness and testimony in all the glyphosate cases. And he said they actually, for a while there, were advertising that it's safer, that it's like safe to drink. Like, it's the safest thing. And then when you're using glyphosate, it says, oh, you can wear street clothes. You don't have to wear any protective clothing at all. And he's like, if it's street, I wouldn't be spraying glyphosate without protective gear. And then, they were trying to say you could drink it. You could just drink it. It's so safe. They literally did that for a while, and it resulted in death. And
I would love to get some of those
people. Oh, it's wild. And it was something about, They tried to deny, saying that that wasn't like their ad campaign, but it was a guy who was running their ad campaign was walking around saying that everywhere. And then a lot of these people who got cancer and got sick from their exposure to glyphosate said, yeah, they told me that it was like so safe that I could just wear my street clothes when I was spraying it and that I could eat it and it wouldn't hurt me.
Well, remember the last scene in Erin Brockovich where she put the water out to everybody and said,
yes.
Oh, by the way, it's from, wherever.
And that's what I was going to say when we were talking about the towers too. And like you were saying, Narcisa, about, they're not doing this in their countries, but they're bringing it to these communities where the small community can't fight back and maybe isn't as educated on the subject. Like, we just had the McDonald's CEO. Did you guys see that? My kids were showing me. He did a video where he's showing himself eating their new burger, and he looks like he's like, look at that big bite I just took, and it's like a tiny bite, and he kind of looks like he's cringing. And it's like, do you think these rich, powerful people who are trying to put these big 6G towers in your neighborhood are living next to one? Do you think that they're poisoning themselves? Do you think that they're taking these products? We've got the people, we've got Moderna and the mRNA guys too, saying that they hadn't got the jab. So they're out there telling you that it's the safest stuff ever. And I go to them, then you live next to one of these towers. Then you live in these communities with this going on. I mean, and like what you're saying with Erin Brockovich at the end, drinking the water, it's happening with everything. A lot of these big pharma guys, they don't take the products. They don't take them. They know that they're poisonous.
And, when you were talking about the data centers, I live in a very small town. We have about 15,000 people, if even that. And they just introduced those big data centers coming, and it was a big deal. And everybody's at the city council meeting, and they're just talking about how great it's going to be. And I'm looking around going, what are you guys drinking? this is terrifying. So I'm definitely going to want to chat with you a little bit more about the Brigade and how maybe we can get involved, because I think we're going to need help in this community. And I've got some people that would definitely be able to, help out and be part of this mission, because we're seeing it. We're a small town, even though we're the town that built the dam. We're a small town. We're losing all the solar fields, which I'm kind of glad about, because they're not being effective. We had the biggest solar field in the western part of the country, and now it's closing down because they obviously it wasn't effective. But they're in their lease, it says they have to put the land back to how it was before they built it. How can they do that, right?
Yeah,
so
how do you do that?
Interesting things going on in our communities.
Tell us what community that is, Dyanah, because that's going to be helpful in our fight.
Boulder City, Nevada.
Yeah, so I was going to say she's in Nevada. I know exactly where she's at. It's a great area.
It's a small community. It's a wonderful little town, but we've definitely seen some interesting things happening here lately. There's definitely a takeover. Governor Newsom was here in Boulder City at a fundraiser at a private residence with.
I'm sorry.
I know, and I was like, wait, what?
Well, they do this in Nevada because we're the desert. So they're dropping bombs on us. They're putting toxic waste in because we're so rural. We've got Clark County, that's Las Vegas, and we've got Washoe County, that's Reno, and everything in between is very rural. But we're the cowboys and the ranchers and like the heart. I mean, people don't realize how Nevada, it's one of the most beautiful states, the most mountainous. We've got some of the best outdoor areas, but they just drop all the toxic stuff on us because we're so rural. So again, like Narcisa was saying, we have a hard time fighting back. And we're right next to California. So they use us as their little testing fields.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh my. It's scary.
Well, you guys, was it Kim? Did you send us a video?
Or was yeah, we've got a cute little video. We want to, we'll just turn it over to Kim if that's okay. She can.
Yeah, let's go.
Yay, awesome. Thanks for having
me. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Charity, for inviting us on this platform. We really appreciate it. And if y'all have any questions about what we say, please send us an email at charity@freedombrigades.com and we'll get back to you. And before we go any further, I'd like to share just a tiny bit of my story and why I'm doing this. I saw Dyanah on a podcast almost 3 years ago now, and I was very intrigued with the information she was sharing. Because I was diagnosed with a pituitary adenoma, which is a tumor on your pituitary. Thank God it's non-cancerous, but it is pressing on my optic nerve, which can cause blindness. And before, I knew that I had this, my vision was just amazing. I could see, all the little detail on a leaf way far away in my yard. So it's definitely affecting that. But so when I got diagnosed with that, I had 3 more MRIs that showed growth each time. I think the span was 6 months apart, and each time it grew. And then I found this mushroom through Dyanah, and I started taking 8 capsules a day. And my next MRI was already scheduled for 2.5 months later. And that MRI showed no growth. I'm like, well, hallelujah. And then 6 months later, again, no growth. And 6 months later, no growth. And then the doctor said, well, see you in a year. So I'm continuing to take the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And I will forever, because it does so much for the immune system, so much support for the immune system. So, and that is our flagship mushroom, the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And it has over 400 medical studies. It gives support to the immune system to aid in the most minor condition to the most catastrophic condition. It's just a mushroom mission that we're on, a mineral mission that we're on, and a nutritional mission. And it's highly important for humans and pets. The mushroom has the initials for it is PSP and PSK, and it's for the pets and the humans. And it's hated by Big Pharma because of how well it works. works. And it cannot be recreated, synthesized, patented, and it's just pure and simple process. The immune system just gets the support that it needs and then goes to work as it should. It's not a cure, not a treatment, does not heal anything, and we are not giving medical or veterinary advice. The immune system just gets to work and does its job. And I want to introduce Dyanah officially. She is certified in holistic pet care, CBD for pets and humans, and is certified in pet nutrition. We'll turn it over to her and we'll hear some more good information.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting what's happening. I definitely want to start with this video because when you see how cool mushrooms are, it's only a 2-minute video. Let's see if we can pop that up.
Okay, sure. Let's do that. Let's see.
People don't realize how amazing and powerful mushrooms are.
No.
I use them every day.
Good.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't think so. Oh, here we go.
I think you're going to have to go back.
What? Charity? Okay.
So while plants create energy from the sun, mushrooms and humans must consume and convert organic matter, making our biology more aligned. And this shared biology means that mushroom compounds are more biocompatible. Our bodies recognize and utilize them more efficiently than certain plant compounds. The beta-glucans and the polysaccharides that are found in mushrooms, especially in the Coriolis versicolor, reishi, shiitake, and maitake mushrooms, interact directly with receptors on human cells, helping balance immune function, not by overstimulating it, but by educating it. Because of our DNA similarity, the human body reads these compounds almost like a code it already understands. So mushrooms don't force change, they train balance. Both humans and fungi have evolved side by side, fighting many of the same environmental threats like bacteria and viruses and toxins. That's why many holistic mushrooms naturally produce antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory compounds, and why those same compounds often work in humans. It's like nature's way of saying, I've already built you an ally. And because fungi and humans share these biological pathways, mushrooms act as adaptogens. They don't just feed us, they teach our bodies how to adapt. They help regulate stress, energy, sleep, immunity, and even cell repair. And while plant-based foods are wonderful for fiber and phytonutrients, mushrooms go beyond that. They deliver compounds that interact with our cells on a molecular communication level. So when someone says mushrooms are good for you, the deeper truth is this: mushrooms and humans have worked together. We share biological blueprints, and that's why their intelligence nourishes us in ways that no other food can. Hope you enjoyed this mushroom moment. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
So the cool part about this that she started with saying is that mushrooms and humans share 50% of the same DNA. Mushrooms breathe, I know, they breathe in oxygen, they breathe out carbon dioxide, they communicate, and they are not fruit, they are not plants, they are not vegetables, they are their own kingdom. And, you know, what's really interesting about the mushroom mission that we're on is that back in the ancient times, these mushrooms were known about. They were used all the time. A lot of times they were actually held off for the elites. Does that sound familiar? Where only the emperors and the healers and the wealthy were able to have these mushrooms. It's only been in the last, couple of decades that we've really started to embrace mushrooms and not just the psychedelic part of the mushrooms. We've had people that go, oh, I'm not going to take those mushrooms. I'm not one of those people, because they don't understand that there's a difference between the psychedelic mushrooms and the functional mushrooms. We are so excited about what we're doing. My story is very similar to Kim's. I have been in the pet industry forever. Animals are my passion. I left the pet industry for a few years and done some other things. And my husband and I had retired. And we got a phone call in 2017 saying there's a company that's getting ready to start. They would really like you to be a part of it. It's all about mushrooms and animals. And I thought, wait, what? And then I started doing some digging, and then I sat down with the co-founders. I learned a little bit about what their intention was. And I thought, oh my gosh, if this is what they say it is, we have found something that's going to help so many people with their pets. You know, our animals, the average person spends $60,000 over the lifetime of their pet on their pet, including veterinarian bills. And the veterinarian bills are usually 50% of that. People love their animals. They'll sacrifice themselves for their animals. And it just meant a lot to me that this is a company that was going to really go after helping these people with their pets. But then when I saw the research behind this mushroom, University of Penn State Veterinarian School actually put it in writing. If your dog gets cancer, and by the way, 65% of our dogs are dying from cancer. If your dog gets cancer and takes the Coriolus versicolor mushroom, it will live longer and healthier. Well, that, for me, to see a university put that in writing, you know they got some pushback. You know Big Pharma was all over that and didn't like it. You know, our veterinarian offices are selling Science Diet food, which is the #1 recalled food. And they're selling it because it's been classified as a medication, so they can sell it and not have to worry about the whole retail. It's like a prescription. And it's just tragic what's happening. When I jumped in and started working with this mushroom and seeing amazing results, and then seeing it with people also, I thought, yeah, this is pretty cool. But again, I was retired. I was just kind of dabbling in this. And then 2020 comes, pandemic, and I get diagnosed with colon cancer. Exactly 6 months, 6 years ago this month. I'm diagnosed with colon cancer, and I'm told that because pandemic, everything was shut down, I couldn't be operated on. I had a tumor in my colon that was going to explode and kill me, but I couldn't be operated on until a board reviewed my case, and it would take about 30 days. And then I got a letter from my insurance company saying, we've seen you've been diagnosed with cancer. We're so sorry. Here's $10,000, but we don't cover treatment. Okay. So here I am waiting these 30 days, right? I had nothing in my toolbox except the data on this mushroom, the Coriolus versicolor, the same one that Kim takes. I started taking 10 a day. Now, why did I take 10 a day? Because normal dosage for someone my size is 3 a day. I wanted to double up, triple up. I knew I couldn't overdose on it. I knew that it was just a whole food, and all it was going to do was give my immune system support to fight what it needed to fight. 30 days later, I got a call. You've been approved for surgery. I go in for my pre-op blood work, and I come home 14 hours later. I get an emergency message that they wanted to do a video conference with me and my oncologist right away. And I'm thinking, you know, my thought process was, oh boy, I hope this hasn't done so much. Do this surgery. You know, I didn't know what they wanted to talk about. Well, here's my doctor on the screen with a great big smile on his face. He's quite a handsome young guy. And he says, Dyanah, what are you doing? And I said, I'm packing a suitcase to go to the hospital, I think. I don't know what's going on. And he says, honey, you're in remission. And I'll never forget knowing that was good. Like we all know, oh, she's in remission. Oh, that person's in remission. It's good. But what does that really mean? And having never been around anybody with cancer or not knowing a lot about cancer, I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? And how did it happen? He said, first of all, I need to know what you're doing. And I said, well, the only thing I'm doing is taking the Coriolus versicolor mushroom. And the next thing he said was quite sad. He said, I don't know anything about that. Send me everything you have. But here's the deal. Before you went in for your blood work, when I saw you 2 months ago or 30 days ago, you were off the charts on your numbers. You should have been 2.5 as your cancer marker. Every cancer has a marker that the doctor uses to tell people how they're doing. Unfortunately, most people don't even know what that is because they don't ask their doctor, and their doctor doesn't volunteer it. If you're dealing with the big C, you need to know what your marker is, and then so they can see how they're measuring it. I was off the charts. I should have been 2.5. That day, I was 0.05. I am 6 years later, and I am still 0.05. So at that moment, it was, wow, okay, now I get it. He said, I still want to take this tumor out. We want to get it out of your body. Could it shrink and be gone? Yes, someday, but we don't know. We're going to take out part of your colon. We're going to like encapsulate the tumor, take it out, not open it to spread it through the body, which I appreciated. And we're going to do chemo because you have a very aggressive, high reoccurring rate cancer. Well, my first thought was no way on chemo. I'm already in regression. Why do I want to do chemo? But then I started reading articles by Sloan Kettering that said that the Coriolus versicolor mushroom could actually complement chemotherapy. And with that, I said, okay, I'm in. I never threw up during chemo. I did not lose my hair. I did not look like a cancer patient because what was happening, I still maintained 10 a day, was that my body was being given so much support. The immune system went to work and did its job that it was supposed to do. And it started repairing and replenishing and rebuilding as it was being destroyed by chemotherapy. I didn't have that white pasty look that most people have during chemo. I didn't look like a chemo patient. But here's what I love about what we do. Irrefutable numbers. At the end of my year-long journey, chemo, cancer, taking out the tumor, everything, my numbers were better than pre-cancer.
That's amazing.
My blood count was better. My osteoporosis was no longer there. This was the funniest conversation ever. I had osteoporosis. My mother was bent over like a candy cane, and I have watched my bone density for years. Full osteoporosis, and I knew chemotherapy destroys your bone density, so I was terrified of how bad I was going to come out of this. So I said to the doctor, when they got all my test results back, I said, so doc, how bad did my bones take a hit? And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, well, I'm osteoporosis. He said, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. It was like this Laurel and Hardy thing, right? I pulled out my test results showing him my bone X numbers. He looked at them and he said, these are bones of an 80-year-old, but your tests now show bones of a 50-year-old.
That's amazing. Dyanah, thank you. We are going to have to cut this off. I thought we were going to get to talk to you longer.
No,
this is amazing. Dyanah, every time you come on and you tell your story, it is just, people, I know it resonates because we are dealing with different issues like this, especially with how they're poisoning our food and our air. And you guys, we have to get the word out. Yes. If you go to freedombrigades.com, you can get what she's talking about at the Pet Club 24/7. Andrea, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, I think it's crazy that in Japan, this mushroom is used to treat cancer. There's tons of research out on it. And especially I have friends that are going through chemo and fighting cancer right now. And I'm like pushing all of them to be on it. Cause like she said, it'll help your immune system stay strong and help you not have those nasty side effects.
Well, and I would love, if anybody is dealing with this, please, reach out to the email, and then we will get the email. We will answer it at charity@freedombrigades.com. So we can pick which mushroom. Right. There are 5 different mushrooms. We can pick which one's going to be best for you. We can help you with how much you need, as well as there's some volume discount buying that we can help you with. But, it is important that you go to charity at freedombrigades.com and email us. We'll get the email and we'll help you. This is a passion of ours. We want to help our animals. We want to help our people. And next time, maybe we can get into a little bit of a Q&A, which would be fun.
Let's really do that. Yes, we'll definitely make sure we have more time. You guys, we have got to take care of our health. We are at war. We have been infiltrated. You've got to take care of your health, and you've got to take back your community. That's how we're going to take back the Republic and keep our freedoms. We will see y'all next week. Thank you.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.